Hey guys, this is Cat Demon 43 and welcome back to another episode of The Letter. Now this time we are going to be starting with Zachary's story, so we will be seeing how that goes down, and I'm really curious to, I'm curious to see how the ghost interacts with him, because with Hannah and Isabella, it's pretty obvious. And we know a bit that Zachary saw the ghost in Hannah's story. I'm curious to see how it'll go. So, let's continue. Alright, and we have Zachary, so we can read his profile now. Alright. Birthday, March 30th, Pisces, 31 years old. Height, 6 foot. Occupation, freelance photographer. That humming is really loud in my ears. Nationality, American. Yeah, I thought so. I figured he was American because how he kind of acted, and when he said like apartment, it made me think, oh, he's probably from America. Religion, agnostic. Education, diploma of digital film. Likes pie, photography and filmography, documentaries, cooking, acoustic guitar, video games. Nice. Okay, so before his parents' death, he lost his parents? Oh, sorry, Zach. Anyway, before his parents' death, he lived in New Jersey where his family owned a diner and bakery. He and his older sister were orphaned due to a hate crime. Oh, God. And they were forced to move to England, where their grandparents lived. He had loved cooking and helping out with their old diner, but grew lazy and disinterested after the incident. It did not help that he was one of the few blacks in a predominantly white community at the time. His passion for the visual arts was sparked when he found old Polaroids and home movies of his parents. Freelancing helped pay his rent, but the man had long set his sights on the indie film scene. It was during the creation of his first documentary that a robbery occurred, and Ashton was there to investigate. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time led to Zachary being placed as a suspect, but the rookie detective helped him clear his name. Oh, good. So that's how they became friends. That's cool. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pause but stern commanding gaze, Ma's tender smiles, and sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning. And the distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room, our room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I, too, eventually. But we ain't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves and not burn our hands or reach the cupboards without having to be lifted.
But a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is. The walls more foreboding than what I am used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases, and Pa...
No, please wait! I'll be good! I'll sleep on time! Don't go!
I can't hear Pa. Oh my God. Right, and his parents died because of someone just didn't like the color of their skin. God damn it. Not above the radius clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. Oh my gosh. There is only blinding fear. When my foot slips, The red sea that catches me is bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips in my hand is warm, warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The walls tumble and everything goes quiet. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me, my blanket a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not arrived, and yet...
Way too early for this thing, man.
And too long. Too long since the last I've woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day, or until my mind forgets about it. Egad, whichever comes first. Yet vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing, up, pushing, urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, and... There's a twinkle in Ma's eyes when she looks up from her work, flour dusting her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up to wipe the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer, the moment he spots me on my little hiding place behind the door. I expected him to be angry, but he pats me on my back when I come within his arm's reach. Is encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put up for sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distinctly familiar. Ma ushers me out of the kitchen when Pa moves to answer it. But I know what waits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Something snaps back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray. The walls still need a new paint job, and the wall clock ticked opposite my bed is as unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the chance.
You're no longer there, Zachary. Here and there are miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
Well, Zachary needs a hug. The pressure of my own fingers against my temple is a welcome sensation over the anxiety gripping me. It never really did anything to stave off the headache sure to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I am safe, away from the place I once called home, from Ma and Pa's. The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghosts, threatening to hang around. Why anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock at someone else's door this late confuses me. Nana would chase them away with a broom if she was here. But no matter. It's a welcome break from the thoughts about to take a morbid turn if left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to crash. Looking for a place to crash. Wonder of wonders why he's bothering with the courtesy when he never did so before. Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me to check who it is first through the peephole. Better to be safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight and he started wearing a ponytail. Of course. Oh my gosh, Isabella. It's gotta be Isabella. Of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon, no matter how funny that looks in my head. I waste no time opening the latches.
Isabella, it's late.
You're okay. You're alive. Achievement safe haven. Oh, sweetie. You're okay. Oh, thank God. I'm glad you're okay. There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face is a pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, and uncontrollable shaking in her hands she's trying to hold back. Oh, sweetie, you were able to get out. Oh, that's so good. I'm glad. Hide, if I didn't know any better.
Hey, Zack. Sorry,
Oh, sweetie.
I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you were the closest to my office, and...
Oh.
No. It's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought... I'm sorry, I just thought...
It's okay.
I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and...
Calm down. You're okay. You're safe. For now, you're safe here, okay?
Sorry.
Well... She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead, her only response is a downward shift of her gaze. Back to her still tumbling hands, as if the motion alone is enough of an explanation. A minuscule gesture, easy to miss if one is not paying attention. But for someone who has seen the same expression on the mirror, done the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, it is not.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you not.
Yeah, I guess, does Ash not knock? He just comes in?
Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it.
Yeah, what the heck? That's so rude.
I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Well, he kind of dresses like one, so, I mean, have you seen his coat? Without waiting for her answer, I step away from the door and saunter over to the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only the clinking of plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from the dangerous thoughts. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Whether her reasons for showing up here at such an hour doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I turn her away, frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years I've known her, she has never once lost her ever upbeat spirit, until dealing with ghosts. Yet in this particular moment, as she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself, it's as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
Aw, you're so sweet, Zachary.
Just water will do, please.
Oh, Isabella.
Thanks, Zack.
Oh.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Hey, feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry. New freelance gigs and such. Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd have something more to say about that. A quip, a witty remark to provoke a laughter or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch, and a silence that stretches out until what we left hanging feels disconcerting. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, Gigs. Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my schedule shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world. The world itself moves for you, huh?
She curled up on one side of the couch and hugging her knees close when I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and the water she requested. She starts to straighten up as I'm unloading the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold up my hand in a halting gesture.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
The tremor in her hands, though lighter now, still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she is quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Or maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions. Worrying. The sudden loss of word for words, this bout of quiet not normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of the old chair when I casually take a seat is a welcome break. Although the company is familiar, this has gone way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp drains her glass of its remaining contents. One would think that it will be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it in her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened.
Yeah, the death of Rose.
To Rose.
Rose. Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
Yeah, same.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
He doesn't know?
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice. It doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory from the night before. The bright red light from the dark room, the strong odor of the stop bath, the television's barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere, even in the morning that follows. I just didn't think its effects will strike someone this close to me.
Oh, damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
Well, it's okay, Zack.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will.
Well, it's definitely one of those hard things when you lose someone you're close to, and you keep saying, like in the case of, like, losing your grandparent, or your brother, your sister, or one of your parents, it's very hard to try to get out of talking as if they're still here, even though there are some people that would very much get annoyed if you're still talking like that for several years later, even though, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't really understand, I think. And especially when you hear the words like, oh, you should be over it by now. I find it's probably one of the most insulting things you can say to somebody. The words, I hope you get over it soon, which is something I heard frequently when I had lost my dad. Yeah, no, honestly, it takes time. It's not instantaneous, where everyone is different. There are those who can bounce back pretty quickly, and then there are those who cannot. So, yeah. But I hope it will too. Oh. But yeah, I really do hope with Isabella it does get she copes with it more. Even with dealing with ghosts, I just hope she does okay.
Things might become a little busier for me, though.
Yeah.
She left a lot of things unfinished. And I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hard-working people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
He's so concerned. I love that. I love Zack. He's so sweet.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night.
Exactly. It's a good friend. That's what good friends do.
Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
Yeah, she doesn't want to go home. The venom tension in her voice makes me pause, and it is in this instant that makes the mask she's been keeping up falls apart for only a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. It's disturbing to see such marring her usual upbeat contents. With a sigh, I cross a small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling enough.
Bella, this ain't just about your coworker, is it?
Yeah.
What is it really about? I'm all ears.
The sound of glass shattering rents through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
She saw a ghost. Ugh. Hiding from that ghost. I mean, who knows how long she was there for? Hiding under a desk, trying to stay as quiet as possible so that the ghost doesn't find her. I mean, you guys saw my bad end and my reaction to that, and just, nope. But I still question the part when she was praying. That's something I'm wondering about. And yeah, I went back actually and kind of listened to it, and it does honestly sound like it's a sped up version of what Isabella was saying when she was praying, when I got my dead end. She clasps her hands over her ears, pressing it tightly against the sides of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please, please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
All right, Isabella. Look at me. Look at me.
He is such a good friend, Zack. You're so great. My hands are firm on her shoulder when I pull her up to look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close. Too similar.
Breathe. Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Stay in the present.
Yeah.
I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
Give her a hug. Seriously, the animation of, like, having her shake her head, I like that. That's cool. The force with which she shakes her head is enough to reason to drop the topic altogether.
No more. Please, no more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Kate, no more talking. I won't ask any more. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much.
Yes, give her that.
We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating into herself again. No more words are exchanged after that. I take that as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either one of us gets hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is a pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. more so than her ragged draws of breath or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two. But the latter does the trick, and soon enough she has already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Oh, did she fall asleep? Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to the empty bed and hugs herself tighter against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact that she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay long with her. There are still questions left to be answered. But the late hour coupled with the sudden exhaustion made my old couch a more comfortable bed than it typically is. The darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits the makeshift pillow. A frightened Isabella Santos knocked at Zachary Steele's apartment in the middle of the night. Shaken, she refused to say what happened. Zachary let her stay regardless. I can only wish the dreams will keep a distance for now. For both of us. The first few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights, while sleeping passes like a blink and it is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. Actually, hold on. Holy crap, your thing is huge! Yeah, I'll wait till I get to here. I lift my hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sunlight has yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything in the subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch those precious extra minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. Oh, it's Ash. The ringing still hasn't stopped, even as I fish the phone out, and Ashton's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet.
I'm like that too. I'm just like, let me just lie here for an hour after I wake up, just so that I can wake up officially.
Stop calling me Z-Man.
Yeah, come on, dude.
It's 20 past 6, Zack.
Shush.
You're one to talk. Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
You don't sound like it.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zack. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper one from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure how to go about recounting last night. If I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her the night before. Sometime during her sleep, she pulls up a blanket over herself and tucked into it comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much her hands and lips trembled. Save for a firm grip on the edge of the covers, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zack, what about her?
Something, the worry, the concern, must have surfaced in my tone, because his own shifts then. Carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kinda knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think... Okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so...
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd learned something from me by now.
She was freaking the fuck out. You can't just try to force information out of someone when they're, like, trembling in fear. Not cool, dude.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there. We were walking one second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
It bothered him, if the way he falls silent after his telling. But whatever his opinion is, stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
Did she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
Oh, he hasn't met... Oh! He hasn't met Hannah yet. Okay.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury.
Yeah.
How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway.
Like following the rights? I'm still wondering about that, and I still think it has something to do with Luke.
I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
He drops the call before I can even get a word in, and for several minutes after, I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxborn rouses. Come morning, Zachary received a phone call from Ashton, who is looking for Isabella. Zachary informed him that she stayed over and of the circumstances. Before ending the call, Ashton offered to pick her up. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustling of nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease, nevertheless. What's comforting? What's safe? What I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? A hushed moment like this. I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair, to say such in light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash had effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through despite the proverbial ghosts hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsules equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I'd spend minutes, heck, even hours, staring at a single pill prior before taking one. Now it's just routine. A way to stave off the unwanted nightly visits. Oh. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Dude, you can't do that. That's not good. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary, and then I pop the tablet into my mouth.
Zack? What time is it?
Well, the bottle in my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answers the question with a long, drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities. Inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget that she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can afford. To overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level as Ash exercises for his investigations, or Rebecca needs for her own work. But it's certainly enough to deadly put what she sees around her on canvas. And if the way her eyes flicker to the table and my hands says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
My doing. You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Uh-huh.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana will give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zack. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
Wait, what?
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be...
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another courtesy glance over the table, back to the bottle, holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall lifeless to the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. Oh my god. It never stops, does it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
Uh-huh. She makes a slight gesture with her hand towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtlety has never been one of her strongest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not a loss for words at that. She has left it up to me whether I'll ever give her the response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her, if anyone would ask me. I think we should tell her the truth. But it's never easy, ain't it? Oh. Ah, it went up. Talking about my own problems, that is. It will never be, not by a long shot. Not when I've let it stay this way for so long. I've realized long ago that the wounds are still fresh and the dreams are a nightly occurrence. Can't force yourself to get better or move on onto better things. It is what's normal now, and I can only cope, not hope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all the people I keep close in my life, she's probably one of the very few who, perhaps, I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I can never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her, and giving too much of what I can. However, for all her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that is all I can ask of her.
My bad. I was kinda hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container when I gently set it back to its usual place. Always this small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's.
Huh.
Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zack?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, and her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It is far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. True to her word, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth, of my ma and pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what is left in me that day. I can't recall most of it now. My own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident. All except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hit the floor motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from underneath him. And the gunman. He was smiling. Oh. Bastard. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet in Pa's chest and Ma's head. Goddamn bastard. I've heard stories of how the world be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed it until that moment.
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment would be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, and maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easy to see the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me, a bit awkward, considering the gap of our heights, but it gets her sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer this in kind, if I am even supposed to reciprocate the gesture, given my earlier apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it is obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
I love Isabella. You're so good. All these characters are so good. I want to protect them all. They're all cinnamon rolls, dang it.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Well, fuck those guys.
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry, I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
Yeah, Rebecca has a trigger hair when it comes to being very angry very fast.
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. But I'm ready. Like today.
Oh.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah?
Yeah.
Whew. Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
Why do you think she would get angry? I mean, it's your personal life, you know? You have a right to keep stuff to yourself, and the fact that Ash just seems nosy on purpose. He like, seriously, dude, there are some things you shouldn't really know until a person tells you up front.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons?
Yep, all of us do.
But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
Yeah.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, and disappears right before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine.
We gotta fight the ghost now.
Look, about last night... Never mind. This isn't a good time. But don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
Aw, you're so good, Isabella. I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, in knowing I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. Oh. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and often just directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about happiest people when angered? Yeah, I can be a pretty happy person. When I get angry, I get very pissed. And you don't want angry. You don't want angry cat. You don't want angry cat. Angry cat is not a good thing. Just run away. Besides, it'd be unfair for her after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it has been simply waiting for its cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now.
Wait. Cat, you're not allowed to chew on a plastic bag. I don't know if you're trying to clean your teeth with it or what. Stop it.
Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Oh no. The stomach revolution. The end of days.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry.
Liar, you so are.
Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
I'm sorry, my cat is currently rubbing her face on my shoes. You're being weird. Yes, you, Freya.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham.
Ooh.
You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about? I'll have you know, I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
What's a paella? I must Google that later.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Oh, hello. Hello, cat. I got my cat here. I think, yep, she's coming up. Okay. Got a video with a cat. Hello. Oh, journal entry. Okay, Isabella saw Zachary taking an unknown medicine and concerned, asking what it was for. He admitted his suffering from a trauma ever since his parents were killed in a hate crime. Isabella could only offer him a comforting hug to lighten the mood. The two decided to cook breakfast afterwards. Yeah. Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Despite us, the constant clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noise from the television I left running would have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual, we have moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else will come knocking at the door. Oh, say it, and he shall appear. Isn't that right? As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department. Sometimes Ash's, although most coming from him border on awkward or embarrassing. Speaking of the guy, he never did call back, and I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back to sleep after that call. Or maybe he's at the door.
Sorry, Bella. Could you...
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them, though. Hold on, I'll be right there.
Uh-huh.
Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down. Ash.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Yep. Ash has already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never been really keen with the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you, this guy. All 13 of my locks he broke can attest to that. 13 locks? Ash! It's called breaking and entering, you doofus. What are you doing? You're a detective. Don't do that shit. He's a good fellow, though. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Izzy, man.
Ugh, don't call him that. He doesn't like it.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught up with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
Ah, my bad. Forgot to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up. Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the other hand, doesn't appear too fond of the idea. And sure enough, before they can even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down and forces alone enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. It would have made a funny picture. The way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion are in his face all at once. Two things that rarely ever grace it if he can help it. A rare moment for even our small group. If only my camera was with me. Dang.
What is it?
Zack cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
But the food! It's Zack's cooking! Real delicious food that actually tastes like food. At least stay and have a bite, please. Zack, help me here!
These two. Whenever they are in the same room, sometimes I feel like hurting a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. One moment they're engaged in a pleasant chit-chat, and the next they are bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better, and I would have over-advocated imagination, I'd say there's something going on. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggest such. This, however, we are saving. And I am going to check out... No, not that. You know what? Cooked up a feast.
Now, I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us, and it'd be a waste.
Oh, they both went up. Cool.
Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about. Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it, too.
That sounds delicious. The oven timer dings. I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over to the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of glazed and salty tang of melted cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take out the two trays inside. The scent immediately fills the entire room, and even with the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. Their faces! Oh, that's so cute! It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes down on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly, followed by a burst of laughter. My head snaps up at the two of them, and I can't keep back the smile at the sight they make. Isabella is clinging to the doorframe for support, doubling over with breathless laughter. Ash is more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabella's not going to let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything.
Liar.
Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Aw, he's flustered.
Shut it! Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Aye, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up. Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
Aww! Oh, that's so cute! We eventually settled down after the food has been served, the jibs replaced by another round of friendly chatter, mostly about what's on the news the night before. There is, however, a conscientious effort to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic to talk over food in polite company, this case in particular. The wounds are too fresh, too soon. I'd likely avoid it as well if I were in her position, and someone I personally knew passed away in a gruesome manner like that. Although perhaps the closest we got to broaching the topic is when the infamous mansion is brought up again. But even then, you're careful, Ash and I. We keep the conversation light and avoid bringing up her late business partner. It's the least we could do.
The Wrights? Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned.
Yeah, and it's incredibly fast.
It's why they wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember what I told you last night about the new clients?
So that has already happened. Okay, I thought it hasn't already.
Vaguely? Sorry, I was a little out of it yesterday. Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually for the one you sold. Something. When you put it that way, I suppose it makes sense why my boss wants me to prioritize the couple. They can have those documents rushed at just a snap of their fingers. Then they're more influential than I initially thought. Man, I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zack. You'd probably win an international award if you let yourself.
Aw.
Ma'am Hana's easy to please, too. As long as you're good at following instructions.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes after all.
Still, a week? I don't think that's possible.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah. They wanted everything finished at the earliest. To be honest, it's not unheard of, but...
But it's still weird. Still weird, yeah?
The slip of the tongue. still barely noticeable to someone who's already familiar with Ash's ways. Yet, in this moment, it's impossible to miss. I shoot him a curious glance, but he ignores it. Rather pointedly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm just the middleman after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the in and outs. It's just that BRC and my boss are more hands-on with the legal stuff this time, despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
Maybe Mr. Wright helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
Well, they should have one. Especially for a big property like this.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office. If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds to Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
You're never gonna let her live that down.
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
Her face. Their faces. Oh gosh.
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, and I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup. That's a pretty picture.
At least I don't live off convenience store food. Or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
What?
What? How did you... Oh, come on, Zack.
How did he make a pressure cooker explode? Dude, what?
Sorry, it just came up while we were cooking earlier.
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
What?
A one-time thing. And it wasn't as big as you seem to be imagining.
Still, how'd you manage to make it blow up? Dude!
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
What? Can you not cook?
Hey, that was an accident.
You were making a salad, Ash.
How does that happen? What? How does that even work?
Can we please move on to a different topic?
No! I want to know how you almost started a fire by making a salad. What? It helps. The casual talk, the harmless teasing, the mundane stories interesting enough to let time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at the forefront of my mind. It's the same for Isabella. For whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't easily seen, ain't easily forgotten, after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zack.
Oh.
I'll be downstairs in a minute.
Confusion briefly flashes in her eyes as she catches the keys he tosses over. But he doesn't give her an answer and waves her to go ahead.
How sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you. See you later, Zack. Thanks for the food.
Bye, Bella.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
Cool. A grin on her face. A grin is back on her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while, after we're left alone, Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting shit about to go down at some point.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
They hired you.
Hired me who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
Yeah, okay.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple. I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
Okay, so I'm really starting to think that this also involves with the Luke thing I mentioned before. Because he was at the mansion when he shouldn't have been. And he was at the mansion again during Hannah's party. I'm really curious about that. He nods, claps a comforting hand on my back, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with those. More often, he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures with his head towards the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask about. He's likely taken notice of the moment he entered the room.
You back on those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Yeah, I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is.
Oh.
I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wouldn't, but you can never tell. Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time, when he reaches for the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind him. Slightly disturbed, the papers are nearby on the nearby fridge. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with a mute intensity. From my guard mansion, H. Wright, 11 a.m. for luxury living. Oh, wait, what? Oh, he hasn't gone? After Ashton's warnings, they all hold a different meaning now. I'm gonna call it here, but after I read this. Ashton arrived to fetch Isabella. Oops. To fetch Isabella hours later, but she didn't want to leave after all the food they prepared. In the end, Ashton acquiesced and stayed. The Wrights and Zack's upcoming gig were a few topics touched during their talk over breakfast. Okay, where are we? Here, all the way over here. Holy crap. Okay, I'm saving? Getting up there? Yep. Well, guys, this has been the start of Zachary's story, and oh my gosh, he's such a sweetheart, and what he went through as a kid, that just really pisses me off. Just because of the color of his skin. People like that who will be biased and judge someone just solely on what they look like and such, or will go so far as to harm someone because of their ethnic differences, their color of their skin, where they come from. That really, like, willing to go so far as to hurt that person. That right there probably pisses me off more than anything else, and I want the best for Zachary. I want him to do really well. I don't want him to die in this story. At least in my initial playthrough, I don't want him to die, but I'm also gonna have to leave it at here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's episode 10. Can't believe I actually got to 10. Not sure how many there are gonna be in total, but I guess we'll see when we get there, because we're now on Zachary's story, and yeah, we're on the 3rd chapter, and there are 7 chapters in total. So I guess you could kind of say we're getting close to halfway. We will, I guess, when we get to Rebecca, So, but it definitely feels like the further you go down with each character, the more stuff you're gonna know. And the whole thing with Ash and the Wrights, and especially involving with Luke Wright, just makes me wonder. So, yeah. But anyway, guys, this has been Cat Demon 43, and I hope you have a wonderful day, week, night, whenever, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye, guys.